the channel. Today we're going to be looking at this Sefaspe MMA 120 mini 110 volt stick welder. It's a tiny inverter machine. I mean, it fits in the palm of your hand. These guys reached out to me and I'm going to do a non-biased review of what I think of this machine. So for starters, I think it's tiny and I think you can pack this thing anywhere. You could nearly put the thing in your friggin' pocket. And it comes with the standard, what I've seen with these little inverter machines and any of the stuff you find on Amazon, about a 6-foot work lead and about a 4-foot ground. I've made this point before, these are incredibly short work leads, but I really don't think that matters because you've got a machine that weighs, if I had to guess, 5 pounds at most. So anyways, we're reading here on the bottom and we're seeing it outputs 120 amps at 60% duty cycle and 100% duty cycle at 95 amps. So really, if you're running your 332nd, 7018, 6013, whatever, you're probably in the neighborhood of really having a 100% duty cycle machine that's this big. And you can really pack it with you anywhere. But that's just advertised. We're gonna get to running this thing and we're gonna see what we really think of it. So we've got also, like we've seen on the Yes welders and the other brands, we've seen the little miniature DINS connectors. So anyways, we're gonna hook these guys up. They have positive connection, that's good. It doesn't feel crappy, it feels solid. That's a good start. So, I mean, that's that. Not much to that. We've got power and it turns on. So this looks like it came set up full tilt, 120 amps. Runs down to 30 amps. I don't know why you'd ever need to be that low, but it does it. It basically looks like you've got a green light, or well, it's on. And then it's got an OC with a light below that. I'm gonna guess over current. Obviously probably the duty cycle light. So very simple machine, very small machine, and it literally fits in the palm of your hand. So, I'm gonna put on my welding gear and we're gonna get to welding with this thing and see what we really think of it. They did send this thing with like 5 sticks of 332nd, 6013. So I guess that's pretty neat that it did come with the machine. It did come with one of those little bags that's supposed to soak up moisture, but I am seeing this rod, it does have a little moisture in it, but I guess we're gonna see what we can get out of this thing right out of the box with the things they sent us. It's $70. If it welds at all, and then maybe if it welds the next time we go to use it, I'd say it's worth $70. All right, well, I was flipping through the manual a little bit. I guess it has a little bit of info in here, troubleshooting, how to plug it into the wall, etc. I don't know how much help that is. It does give a little bit of a guideline on welding settings. So I guess for the type of person that's gonna be buying a machine like this could be slightly helpful. So anyways, I've got out a few different weld rods here. I've got some 6013, which is gonna go more in line with the sheet metal type of stuff. I have some probably 60 thou thick stuff here, maybe some 100 thou thick here. It's the thinnest stuff I got, so we're gonna see how this thing performs on the sheet metal with the 6013. And then I've got some 6011. This is like farm rod. This is the stuff you're gonna see getting equipment repaired out on the farm or whatever. So I've got some rustier stuff. We're gonna do a little weld repair on that. And then I've got the 7018, which that's just regular structural steel rod. I've also cleaned up this thick plate I've got here. I've got a little steel to see how this thing runs with the 7018. All 3 of these filler rods are 332nd size or 2.5 millimeter to the people in everywhere but America. We are set on electrode positive right now. And we're on 70 amps like I was saying. So I'm gonna start with tacking. I guess this will be the first test to see how this machine actually does. It tacks really smooth. Let's run a little bit of weld on the sheet metal stuff, and we'll see what we can come up with. So we're able to run really nice, really uniform welds. The machine holds well. We're definitely getting all the penetration. So I would say, as far as the Sefaspe on a 70 amp setting with 6013 rod, we're giving it a thumbs up. Good running machine. Now let's move on to the 6013. We'll just do the farm rod, the stuff that's gonna penetrate well. I'm gonna grab some real thick steel that's just a butt joint, and we're gonna see how well we can burn it in. We're gonna run this guy up to 95 amps. Right at the hot end of the 6013, and we're gonna see how well this piece of equipment does. The weld stinger, I mean, it doesn't take much to make a nice stinger, but it would be very easy to make a crappy stinger. And this thing so far seems pretty stout, pretty robust. Pretty in line with everything I've used through my whole career. So anyways, let's get into the 6013 on just a deep penetrating butt joint. See how it does. Actually, now that I just welded the other side of this little plate here, we got a little heat in here. This machine's totally capable of putting in 6013 on some 1-inch thick plate with no prep. So there's what we get. Farm rod ain't the prettiest rod, but the stuff really did burn in well. You can see we've got probably 3/16 of penetration here. And yeah, so test number 2 out of 3 with the Sefaspe MMA 120 Mini. We got another thumbs up. Thing runs solid. Well, the 6013 and the 6011 both ran really well. I'm really impressed with how well this Sefaspe machine is running. So now we're gonna get on to the 7018 rod. 7018 is what anything built in America today essentially is made out of. So we're gonna plug in the 7018 here, and we're gonna see what this machine can do. We're gonna run at about 96 amps. We're running close to the high end of what this 7018 is meant to run. And we're getting closer to the high end of this little stick machine. It does go to 120 amps like we said before. I may turn up the 7018 to 120 amps and just see how it takes. Throw some 7018 in here, and we will see how she runs. So I think what I'm finding here is that on the high end of this machine, we might not be getting the advertised amperage. It doesn't seem to want to keep the 7018 lit at 100 amps, which should be about as hot as this rod should go. So I'm going to turn this thing up to 110 amps and see what we get. So this machine does not seem to want to stay lit on just with the 332 7018. I don't know, I'm up at 110 amps. I know I have good power coming to this unit. I'm gonna go wide open and we'll see what this thing will do. I'm gonna ground this right to where we're working. And last but not least here, I'm gonna run some 7018 on this tubed plate here. So I don't know if you've noticed yet, but this machine isn't even turned on, and I wasn't even welding with that stinger. I actually ended up having to go back to my regular welder because after how well this thing ran the 6011 and 6013, it just didn't seem right that it wouldn't run 7018. I even stopped mid recording here, went and bought another box of 7018 thinking I had wet rod, or I don't know what I was thinking. But I'll show some clips here of me having little temper tantrums and whatnot, and my pile of rod on the ground. This thing sucks. What the hell is this here, dude? Why is this fucking not? So what I would say is, this welder here is tiny, and it worked great on the 6011 and 6013. If you're doing sheet metal repair or anything that doesn't require 7,000 or higher structural steel filler material, this is a great machine. I got into the 7018 and I was really stumped, and I honestly had to go back to my other machine for myself to make sure I wasn't doing something wrong. And immediately it worked perfectly. So, good machine in the right place, at home in your garage, repairing your fence, repairing your lawnmower deck, things like that. This thing will probably work good for a long, long time. As a whole stick welding unit, it's a $70 unit. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed the review. I told you I'd do a non-biased review. These people did actually send this welder to me to review, and I told them I would not lie, or I would not say it was good if it wasn't good. And I'm gonna say it's okay. Is it a waste of $70? Absolutely not. $70 isn't very much money in 2024. And yeah, so I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 10. So anyways, thanks for watching. Don't forget, hit that like, subscribe button.